Hello, my knitty friends. Welcome to the Hudson Valley Knits podcast. I am Amy, otherwise known as Memers on Ravelry, Memers66 on Instagram and Twitter, and this is episode 5, Goals for 2014. Welcome. I just want to say that if you enjoy this podcast, if you could go over to iTunes and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And a good review is also very much appreciated and welcome. It will help get me more exposure, and I need you to do that. I also have a Ravelry group on Ravelry, Hudson Valley Knits. Surprise. I would love it if you would come over and join my Ravelry group and participate in some of the stuff going on there. I need some action there, so it's kind of dead. But in order to entice you to join my group, I am giving away a free pattern when I hit 100 members, and I think I'm at 62 now, which is not bad, right? I also have a gift-along, knit-along going, and I'll talk about that in the news section. So please join my Ravelry group, and please subscribe to me on iTunes. I need your help, and I would really appreciate it, so thank you very much. What do I have for you today? Oh, let me just start. I decided I put in the show notes, if I'm wearing a knitted garment, I put it in the show notes, but I decided to also speak it on the podcast. So this is Marin Shawl by Isalda Teague, and it's made with Spirit Trail Fiberworks Lyra. It's a Lyra is a worsted silk, alpaca, and merino blend by Spirit Trail Fiberworks. I forget the colorway. I apologize for that. I got it at Rhinebeck a couple of years ago, not this past one, but the one before, and I knit this almost immediately when I got home. And I highly recommend this yarn for the shawl. It gives you a more substantial size shawl, and it's soft and keeps its shape and just gorgeous. So it's one of my favorites. And that's what I'm wearing. So, all right. So I have what I'm wearing. Works in progress. I have one finished object to show you. Nothing in the stash enhancement department, but that, of course, that doesn't include stuff in the mail. And I do have some new in the queue, so we'll be talking about that. And then at the end, I have some knitty news. Not a review, but just some knitty stuff to talk about, and I will be showing you some yarns and some snoozy projects, if you will, at the end. So let's get on it. For news, I wanted to give you a little more details about the knit-along. I have a gift-along, knit-along thread, a chatty thread and a finished object thread over in my group. And as of now, this knit-along ends January 7th, which is my mom's birthday, and the day after Elvis's birthday. Or is it? Elvis is the 8th, right? I think I put the 9th, but the date is in the thread. The prize is, where's the prize? Where did I put it? I think it's in here. Here it is. The prize for this knit-along, which I will draw a name for it, is this lovely skein of Dragonfly Fibers Traveler in the Starry Night colorway, which is to die for. Okay, it just absolutely is. Right now, at this moment in time, if you join this knit-along, and all you need, and I'm sure you have some kind of finished object that you gifted to someone, and you can give me a picture of them either wearing or with the gift that you knit them. If you post in that finished object thread, you will have a very good chance of winning, because I only have one person so far has posted something. So go take advantage of that. You can win this yarn, and you know you want this, don't you? You know you want it. So go do that. That's my gift along, knit along, and the rules are in the thread. So go check that out. And what else we got? Any other news? No other news. Works in progress. Okay. I'm gonna start, and I usually do start with my main project that I've been working on for the week. And in this case, this week, it's been the herbaceous socks. I love these socks, and I love the yarn. And I finished the first sock. I don't have sock blockers. I don't block socks on sock blockers. Ooh, my nail is broken. So here is the first one. I've tried it on, but it's a great pattern. It's a great little knit. She does a really interesting gusset. So she does the decreases on the bottom of the foot, and you can see up here I decreased a little too because I had made it a little longer. A little wider around to accommodate my mother's foot. Originally, these socks. Oh, one more thing about these socks. I am knitting these with Ooh Fancy Pants fiber. Ooh Fancy Pants is from Emily from the What You Swatchin' podcast, and this is her hand-dyed yarn, and I got it from her Etsy shop. And this is Emily from Fibertown's pattern, herbaceous socks. And I am knitting them for a knit along on the Craft Stash podcast called the Dynamic Duo Knit Along, where you knit a pattern from a podcaster with a yarn from a podcaster. And that's what these are for. I think I have to finish them by the end of the year, but now I am knitting these for my mom. And the story behind these is originally my best friend Mary Jean had asked me for a pair of socks for her birthday, and she likes blues and purples, and this beautiful grayish, bluish lavender color would have been perfect for her. So I was going to give these to Mary Jean for her birthday, but we were talking at the knitting meetup group, and because I said, I want you to try these on. And she looked at them, she said, there's no way they're going to fit me. And she showed me, don't get me wrong, I'm a swatcher, and I believe in measuring and gauge swatching and all that stuff. She sent me her foot measurements, and basically she sent me the measurements I asked for, which were around the biggest part of her foot, which is usually the knuckles of the toes, right? And the length of her foot. So I told her to stand on a piece of paper, write a little line in front of her big toe and a little line behind her heel, and then measure. And she did that. And she got tiny feet. She got like small feet, but they are a little wide. I think she said 8.5 inches around the ball of her foot. Well, her ankles are huge. And I didn't ask for the measurement around her ankle, and basically there's just no way that these would have gone up her leg. So I was about here. I had done the 2 repeats. I was ready to start the heel flap. And what I decided to do is I told Mary Jean, well, you're going to get your socks late for your birthday. And I'm going to knit these up for my mom. Or I didn't decide that. But basically what I did was I kept working on them. I added another repeat because actually at that point I was thinking, well, I'll just keep them. No big deal. And I like socks that go high up the calf. I don't like, ankle length socks. I like them a little longer. So I added an extra repeat. And I was upstate working on them. And well, upstate means if I say I'm upstate, I'm usually at my parents' house. So I was upstate and I'm knitting on them, and my mom's sitting next to me. She says, "Oh, are these for me?" And that's my mom's way of saying she really likes something. And of course, I'm not going to say no to my mom because she's the most amazing mom in the world. And I said, Mom, they might not fit you. And she says, oh, they'll fit me. So she grabs it. And I'm like, I think I might have started the heel flap, or I just was ready to start the heel flap. So it was just the leg part. And she puts it on, and won't go over her left heel on her left foot. So she's like, I'm like, oh, see, they don't fit. And then she's like, oh no. And she says, my right foot is smaller. And she goes and she puts them on, she takes her other shoe off, and sure enough, she got it over her right heel. What I did is I said, of course they're for your mom. And because I have to finish them by Christmas. And I pulled her name for Christmas. So she has a wider foot than me, and I wanted it to be more comfortable on her, and also because even though she got it on the foot, it was a little tight. I made the gusset looser, so I didn't decrease as much as Emily suggested in her pattern. I left a couple extra stitches, and that's what you do with people that have bigger ankles. You would just decrease less stitches in your gusset. And then I knit all the way to the toe, and when I got to the toe, that's where I kind of took out those last few stitches that I would have done back here at the gusset. And I did a regular, pointy toe, little elf toe is what I call them. And I've also started the second one. So I got this one on. And they're going to go much faster because I'm familiar with the pattern now, and it's just, they're flying. So I'll definitely get these done for Christmas, and absolutely before the end of the month when that knit along is over, because I want to get these in that thread. And this bag is like one of my favorite project bags now, and Joanna from Knit Spin Farm podcast made this, and I got it on her Etsy shop, and I absolutely love it. I love if she puts more bags up, I think I might get one, because I just like it. I don't know. I love her style. I like the farmy fabric. I love it. So that's that one. Next on the whips, the Cameo Cow. I am making the Cameo Cow by Laura Nelkin. That. It's in this bag. I did quite a few rows on this. I don't know if you'll notice a difference because, it's not blocked, so it's curling up a little bit. But, I'm sure it will block out nice. But now the color schemes are starting to reverse, and the brighter color is in the back, and the solid color is now the X kind of design feature. So this is coming along. I'm more than halfway done. It's just this is the project that's just kind of sitting there, and when I feel like it, I pull it out and knit a couple of rounds. It's very enjoyable pattern. It's a really beautiful yarn, and I love it. The only thing is, I'm not sure if it's part of the pattern requirements, but she says to leave a 10-inch tail when you after you cast on. So I did pull a lot of extra yarn, and I'm already dealing with 2 yarns here, and I could shoot myself because I didn't use my yarn pop bag with the 2 holes in it, and I should have done that for this because I wouldn't have all these tangled messes. But what I do when I have like a long tail or something that I know I'm going to use later, maybe to seam with or something, is I just stick it in one of these pouches so it doesn't get tangled. Just a little trick if you're interested. And so that's the Cameo Cow. Another great pattern. I love it. And this is in a bag. Let me show you this bag. I'm very nostalgic about this bag. Here's all the sponsors, right? But this bag says Ravelry at, Ravelry? Ravelry at Rhinebeck 2009. This was from, I think this was the last party they did. They used to have these awesome Ravelry parties. And there was a little goodie bag. You got a bag. And God, those were so much fun. Oh, I wish they still did them, but they stopped doing it right after their child was born, and they just never did it again. And they said it kind of took away from their Rhinebeck experience because they spent a lot of the weekend or a lot of the day Saturday preparing for it, and I understand that, so I get it, but it was just beautiful. It was really wonderful. So, excuse me, I got ginger tea here. It's so good. And it's hot because it's cold here. All right, so I'm on a Laura Nelkin kick, as you might have noticed. I've been making a lot of her stuff. I really love her designs. And, I told you I'm making those socks for my mom for Christmas. Well, her birthday is early January. Her birthday is January 7th. And I wanted to make her something nice for her birthday. My mother loves handmade things. They mean a lot to her. So I bought a whole bunch of her Laura Nelkin's kits when she was at our Knitting Guild meeting. And I bought this with the intention of making it for my mom. It's called Cheerio. And it's in the velvet colorway. But I have to be honest with you. I was about ready to throw it out the window yesterday. Without giving away too much of the design or schematics. Basically, a lot of the beading is done when in your cast-on row. And her cast-on row is done with the backward loops cast on. She specifically states you should. And I get why. And that's because you need a little extra space for all these beads that you're putting on your cast on row. I know you can't see that too well because of the lighting, but I have redone this twice and I have to do it now a third time. But what's happening is when you do this, see this? That's all extra yarn because I did this backwards loop cast on, and it's like it's an extremely loose cast on, and it's creating all this extra yarn. And then I get to these little Cheerio beads, which are knit on and not part of the backwards loop cast on, and I can't tighten it anymore, and I've got like, it's just really annoying the heck out of me. I went on Ravelry to see if anybody had any pattern notes or mentioned having the same problem. No such luck. Like I said, I've already done it twice, and I really don't feel like doing it again. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll post, I left it on here like this just to show you because you could see like I've only gotten this far in the first row and I've already got this much extra yarn in between my needles. And I can't pull it tight now because I have this Cheerio bead knitted on. And yeah, so I don't know. I did it once and it was really loose. And then I said, well, I'll just do it a little tighter. And I cast on again. And I made it a little snugger, which actually was a bit of a headache because there's two beads in between these cast on loops. And it was, I was pulling them a little snugger, but then like one of the beads would kind of slip over because it's like a backwards loop and it would like get on the needle. Ugh. I hate it when knitting becomes frustrating, but I know my mom will like this. And here's yeah, I don't know. The colors are her colors. Garnet is her birthstone. I really want to make it for her, but honestly, after doing this twice, spending hours on it, I'm just like, ugh, don't want to do it. So I don't know. I think I'll post something in her Ravelry group and see if someone who's made it has any suggestions and can chime in on how to make a nice cast-on row for the Cheerio necklace. If you know anything, feel free to please let me know. So that is like my kind of frustrated knitting over the week. What else do I have? Oh, well, it's not much to show because because of the color, which is worn denim, it doesn't really show up very well, but I've knit some more rows on my model for my knitting pattern. I told you a couple of weeks ago, I showed you this, and I told you that I had spoke to Laura Nelkin at our Knitting Guild meeting, and I told her how my yarn yardage calculations weren't making sense and were totally off. So I ripped out, because one of the things she says when you're designing a pattern, you have to be willing to rip out and just start all over. So anyway, I did that, and I'm starting over, and I'm weighing my yarn after every row. I've determined that with 2 skeins, I can very easily add another repeat of the main chart pattern. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'll do, there's 2 border stitch patterns after this. And then hopefully I can send it off to my tech editor and have her check it out and get it published. I need test knitters, please, if anybody's interested. It's some intermediate lace work. It's not lace on both sides, but there's some, like on one of the rows of the main stitch pattern, you have to move your stitch marker. There's 3 different charts involved, so you know, it might be a little overwhelming for someone that's new to lace, but if you have some experience with lace knitting and you would like to test knit, please let me know, okay? And that's it for works in progress. Finished objects, you might have actually noticed that I am wearing my Ribboned by Laura Nelkin. This is another kit I bought at the Knitting Guild meeting. Look at it with my nail polish too. I put sparkly nail polish on. But I can't tell you how much I love this. This can be either a bracelet or a necklace. Let me show you, because it's nice and loose. I really shouldn't take it off like this. But see here, you can use it. Here's the clasp, and you can put it on as a necklace. And I have another kit in the colorway Ruby, which, like, can you picture this? Wrapped around, twisted around, a ruby colored one. How beautiful that will look, especially for the upcoming holidays. Look how nice it looks against my black sweater. I'm in love with this. I'm in love with this. I'm going to make tons more of these. These are awesome. Now, this is not like stuff you could take to the movie theater and knit in the dark. Every row has beads, and but at the same time, it's very therapeutic and relaxing. It really is. I love it. I highly recommend it. And it's really versatile because it can be a necklace or a bracelet. So Ribboned, you'll love it. It's a great way to kind of learn beaded knitting too. So that is my one and only finished object, except if you want to count the ones that I haven't made. If you notice on my head, I have another object, and let me take this out. I put I put this shawl pin in my hair because my hair was all high. It's been humid today, so my hair gets really big, and I was just trying to get it down. So this is my swap gift. Laura Nelkin did a gift swap in her Ravelry group that I signed up for, and I think I told you about it. And this is what I got from my swap partner. I have no idea what pattern it is. You're supposed to make a Laura Nelkin pattern, and I have no idea which one this is. I have no clue. But my partner, who is Genia P, and that's how she spells her name is Genia, and then she has a P at the end. She sent this to me with some other goodies. She sent me some lovely stitch markers. Here's a couple of them. Let me show you. Oops. I have all my stitch markers. I have a pile of them on my desk, like in a little dish. Just handy. But here's one. It's a woman knitting. It's like kind of like soft. And here's another one. And you can't read it, but it says, I love to knit. And they're just really cute stitch markers. And she sent me some beads that I can actually use to make some stitch markers myself. And she also sent me some dark chocolate with caramel and sea salts. I had one piece and I gave the rest to my husband because I'm on a diet. And I'm saving the goodies for Christmas Day. But I did try one and it was delicious. I love dark chocolate and I love it with sea salt and I love caramel, so it was perfect. And I love the headband because it keeps my really kind of unruly hair down a bit. And I really like it. I'm actually probably going to wear it to work tomorrow. That's how much I like it. And I'm definitely going to make some more. Maybe I'll use the Pioneer Cuff pattern and make something for my head. The only problem I had is it was, actually, let me take it out. It was too long. So I have it like held together with some stitch markers because I couldn't, it kept sliding off my head. And but what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it together at the bottom. And let me see if I can give you a nice, I want to show you this because the yarn color is really beautiful. I'm not sure what yarn she used, but it's gorgeous. So let me see here. See that? It's like got browns and like golden browns and like green, and it's very variegated. So I'm imagining it might have, I don't think I can get a good color. No, huh? I don't think so. But anyway, the colors are gorgeous, and she really did a beautiful job, and I'm really happy. It was really fun to do, and I'm definitely probably going to do it again next year. So this is my finished object that I didn't make. And, oh, so I did, my partner, who was Jan Ellen RN, she got from me a Pioneer cuff, and I haven't told you anything about it up till now, even though I've been working on it. And I forgot to take a picture, so I stole her picture that she posted in the thread, and I'll put that. I guess I'll put it right here, and I guess I'll put it at the end of the podcast. But I'll also put it on the page or on. Actually, maybe I'll use it as a project page instead of a project since I made it. But I'll put it somewhere where you can see it. So it really came out nice. She said she liked it. I also bought her some Little Skein stitch markers. If you haven't bought stitch markers from Little Skein, you're missing out, because I know stitch markers aren't a big deal, but she really makes good stitch markers. It's hard to get a stitch marker, you know, especially like these plain beaded ones like this, you see, where you put a little glue on it and it usually keeps it in place, but it's a hard thing to do, to get the glue in there, to keep the bead in place. Sometimes they come loose and then they slide all over the place, and then you got that little space there that your yarn could get stuck on. But Little Skein stitch markers stay in place because she also does some double-sided glue, and they really are the best stitch markers I've ever used. I love them, and I'm definitely going to get some more soon. I looked on her website. She only has, is it the Ventures? What's the name of that? What's the name of the story that she did her latest kit on? I gotta look it up now. Little Skein. I came so close to buying the yarn, the Jinx yarn. It's the Velveteen Rabbit. Yes, that's it. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. I bought her kit for the Never Ending Yarn, I think was the name of the book. It was her prior kit. I've showed you the bag. The bag is not in use at this moment, but her bags are great. Her stitch markers are great. I have the stitch markers from the last Book Fiend package. I didn't buy the yarn because I have so much yarn, especially sock yarn, but I love, love, love the self-striping yarn she did for this Velveteen Rabbit pattern by Susan B. Anderson. Created a pattern for a bunny. I would make socks with them. But it's Jinx yarn, and the colors are gorgeous. They're pinks and greens, and those are my favorite colors. Look at my room. Hello. Yeah. Actually, oh my God, I'm gonna stop. No, Amy, you can't have it. Stop it. I love the greens and pinks in that skein. I'm looking at it right now. It's like right at the bottom of my computer screen. I have to close this page or I'm going to make an impulse purchase. Jinx yarn. So anyway, I had it in the cart. I had logged into PayPal and I'm like, Amy, what are you doing? You have a gazillion skeins of sock yarn. Stop it. Holy smokes. Anyway, let's talk about spinning, shall we? I did do some spinning because I know I can finish those socks, so now I'm kind of a little more relaxed. And this is a 2-ply. It is it's merino top. I got it from websyarn.com. It's the color is called pewter. It's soft like butter. It's gorgeous. I had 8 ounces, but I couldn't fit it all in the bobbin. I don't know what you guys do. I kind of just let it go and took it off the other. I didn't like start another one. Actually, I don't have another bobbin anyway. So, but this is really beautiful. This natural pewter color. I really like it. I was trying to practice being more consistent, and I don't know if I plied this well or not. It looks a little loose. I don't know if you can see it. It's not very consistent. Let me get that out of the way. You can see I'm still learning, and I got to practice, you know. So that's what I bought all this undyed fiber for, is to practice my spinning skills. And then I also started. So this I don't know. Oh, this would be lovely around the face. Really like a nice cowl. Nothing fancy. But I started another one. Now, I bought a lot of fiber at Rhinebeck, like Into the World and Loop Bats and what else? I got a bunch, but they're all beautiful colors. And I really want to learn to do the chain plying. So I am using this. It is more merino top. I got this in a trade for some yarn. I got this fiber. It's 4 ounces. And I'm going to spin this up just to practice or try and teach myself the chain ply. I have not ever gotten instructions on it, but I know if I bring it with me to my spinning group, all the women there will swarm me trying to help me teach me how to do the 3-ply. And there are some amazing spinners there. I've also watched some videos. I guess I could show you. This is coming up nice and thin too, which is probably, I think this might be my best so far. I don't know if you can see it. But it's coming out really nice. I know that you have to put extra twist in it when you're going to 3-ply, so I've been trying to I've let go of the scotch tension a little and up the spin, so hopefully it will be nice and tight and it will ply well. But I don't know. I hope so. I really want to try learn this. So that's all I have for spinning. So new to the queue. Oh, so we're kind of getting into my little nitty talk. I recently on Ravelry, I'm in Donna Draconis has a Ravelry group, and if you recall, or if you were watching last week, I did a review of her and Ava Coleman's book Stories and Stitches 2. They also have a Stories and Stitches 1. But in the Stories and Stitches 2, one of my favorite writings and one of the most beautiful, stunning patterns were one that Donna put together using, I want to say Donna Reed. No. It will come to me. But basically she used some stitch patterns from back then, and I should really find out. But I am going to make the Here it is. Hold on. Here with me. Oops. Hold on. Sorry. Come on. I am very sorry. Hold on now. Here she is. So, yes. Okay, so using the stitch patterns of Dorothy Reed, who is one of the pioneers of knitting. Before even Elizabeth Zimmerman, she was charting and doing wonderful things teaching knitting. Donna Chukanis used her stitch patterns to design this beautiful shawl, full circle shawl. And she announced a knit along in her group. She is going to cast on January 1st. And, where's my notes? Let me go back to my notes. They have made up kits in different colorways, and I bought the same colorway that you saw in the picture, the teal with the black edge. Oh. But they have made these kits, and it's String Theory hand-dyed yarn, and it's caper sock in teal. I bought the teal pack. And Donna is also putting together an extra small version. So there's an extra small version, which isn't currently listed in the pattern, and there is a small and a large. And I think the large is like 2,000 yards. And I don't know. You might recall I have been working on a wrap for my aunt, which I haven't worked on much lately. And this is from my aunt in North Carolina, who has done a lot for me and my kids. And I really want to make her something special. And it's just this wrap that I'm making her is going very slow. And I saw this and I thought, you know what? This would be perfect for Aunt Janet. The knit along ends in March, and I'm going to see them. I'm going to visit them for Easter, and I'll bring it with me then. But I think I'm going to make this for my Aunt Janet and give it to her as a gift. So I bought the teal extra small from the website, String Theory hand-dyed yarn. If you're interested, go check it out, and you can knit along with me. It's starting in January. So that's one thing that's new to the queue. The other thing that's new to the queue, I'm not going to show you pictures of, and I'll tell you why. It is Toddy Hottie by Kate Davies. And if you know Kate Davies, you've probably seen it because she's blogged about it recently. And I'm going to make that for my mother-in-law because I love her. I probably won't get it in time to make it for her for Christmas, but she'll get it soon afterwards. And that's all I'm going to say about it because I know she's watching this because she's like my biggest fan, and I don't want her to know what it is. So Hot Toddy by Kate, I have the kit coming to me from Scotland, hopefully soon. I just bought it today. So I'm really stoked about that because I know that's something that my mother-in-law will love. First of all, she's from Ireland, and she likes things like, she's very traditional, so she likes things that are made with their wool and stuff, so that it's coming from Scotland will mean a lot to her. And that it's made with Shetland wool will mean a lot to her, and the whole style will, she's going to love it. All right. So that's what's new to the queue. And now it's time for knitty talk. So I know it's going on. I've been rambling a lot for the past 40 minutes almost now. So if you don't want to stay and listen to this, that's fine. But I wanted to talk to you about two things. I'm going to very briefly about some podcasts, some other podcasts that are out there. And then I want to talk to you about knitting goals or crocheting goals or any kind of fibery goals that you make. And if you don't make them, I recommend you do. I try and do goals every year. And so I figured I would share my 2014 goals with you. And goals just really, I am not one to say, like, no matter what, you have to stick with something. I'm not like that. I'm not that diehard. But they kind of keep you in line so that, they keep you from going a little too crazy, if you will, and they keep you focused to what you want to do. The trick is when you set goals for yourself is to just leave a little room for some flexibility and don't, beat yourself up for it. So anyway, let's start with some podcasts. And the reason, let me just say that I'm a fairly new podcast. I think I started in September. And, as a person doing a podcast, the reason I do it is not so much for a sense of notoriety. It's my mom, sorry about that. I'll call Mom back later. It is because I just love sharing this stuff with you guys. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that love to watch them because if you're like me, you love to see what's going on in everybody else's fiber world. And I like video podcasting. So I decided I was going to do this. And then that's when I realized how much work it is. And now I thought it would be easier because I've been typing in my blog all these years, inconsistently on and off since like 2008. I've had a knitting blog. And I thought videotaping would be easier because then I could just sit here and talk to you because I can talk about things easier than I can write about them. And the fact is, it's a lot of work. I had no idea. And it costs a little money too because I don't, some people can find the free hosting, but there is money involved. There are expenses involved. And I have a whole new appreciation for these people that have been putting up blog posts for all these months and years. So, and when you're new, geez Louise, I'm sorry about all these notifications. When you're new, it's hard to get things going. So I wanted to share with you some other podcasts that I am really enjoying lately that are also fairly new. And I picked 3. And actually, even though they're newer, they're much newer than mine. Like some of them only have like 4 or 5 or 6. They are doing pretty well. But the first one I wanted to bring to you is called Knit Draw Run at blogspot.com. So it's knitdrawrun.blogspot.com, and it's with Jenna and her mom Steph. And it is an audio podcast, and they talk about mostly fiber spinning and knitting. And they also run together as a mother and daughter, which I think is really cool. And Jenna, who's the daughter, also does some painting and drawing. And they have a few audio podcasts up, and I think they're definitely worth checking out. So, and I know they also have a Ravelry group, so go check them out. The second one I wanted to tell you about is called Knitting Butterflies, and that's with Emily. And it's also an audio podcast, and it's really nice. Emily has a great flow to her podcast that keeps you engaged. She talks about some everyday things, and but she excuse me. She just keeps you interested. So she keeps your attention, and she does a really great podcast. It's very well put together, and kudos to her. And she's just so sweet. I don't know how she does it. She's got little wee ones, and I think it was like a couple of podcasts ago. She said she was up in the middle of the night and she had just finished nursing her or feeding her baby. How do you do that? Oh my God! When my kids were little. That was a long time ago. I would have never been able to do something like this. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I went to school when my son was still a baby, and I managed, but it's hard. It's hard. I didn't have any energy back then. So kudos to you, Emily. Keep up the good work. You're really doing a great job. So that's Emily, and it's Knitting Butterflies is the name of her podcast. She does have a Ravelry group, but her blog spot is called neverendingbutterflies.blogspot.com. So Never Ending Butterflies is the website. And she is, I think she's on, I don't know if she's on iTunes. She is on iTunes. I don't know if Knit Drawer Run is yet on iTunes or not, because I have them in my feed, so I just listen to them when they post a new blog post. So, and then the third one, which is like boomed. I mean, they have a ton of followers on Ravelry already, but it's because they're good. It's two friends, Claire and Molly, and it's Homespun podcast, and it's a video podcast, and they are just really fun to listen to. I enjoy the most the podcasts that have two friends knitting together and chatting, and I think it makes for a much better podcast. And it's not easy too, because now you have two people's schedules that you have to kind of be a lot more regimented, and you have to be able to coincide your busy schedules. And I know they're both moms, so I know how hard it is and how much work and time and effort goes into that. So again, it's Homespun Podcast, and you should definitely check out their podcast, and their Ravelry group is very active, and they have a ton of members already. So go check them out, and I think you'd be very pleased. So those are my 3 podcasts that I wanted to mention. I have so many podcasts that I follow that I can't keep up with some of them. I have favorites that I watch all the time, every time they come out with a new one. But then I have others that I enjoy a lot, but because of time, sometimes I might skip one here and there. But it's just because I just don't have the time to listen to all of them every week. I usually listen to my podcast in the morning. I have a cappuccino espresso machine kind of thing. And while that is getting ready, I usually listen to my podcast and chill out with my coffee for like an hour in the morning before I start getting ready for work. And the audio ones I listen during my commute. I have an hour each way, so that's 2 hours that I spend driving every day. And if I'm not listening to a good audiobook, I'm listening to the audio podcasts. So that's how I get mine in. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about knitting goals. Like I said before, I'm going to set up a thread, by the way, and I'm going to have people, you can write down all your knitting goals, or if you just have one main goal that you want to accomplish next year, go ahead and put that in. And it's nice to, I think Knitting Samurai Plus One does that too. She's been keeping track, doing very well too. I think it's Knitting, I'm almost positive it's Knitting Samurai, so that's another good podcast, video podcast. All right. So for me, I split it up. I have my realistic goals, and then I had a section for stretch goals. And the first thing on my realistic goals is to make an Aran sweater for my husband. I have been trying or meaning to make a sweater for my husband for a long time. And it has not come into being. I have measured him numerous times, and for some reason, I just can't get it to fit right. So here's what happened is now I'm not following a pattern. I took some stitch patterns I liked, and actually one of them I made up myself based on stuff that he liked, and I did gauge swatching, and I can you see this? Yeah, you can see that actually pretty good. And I did a swatch for each of the stitch patterns, and I did this one in the center here. I made up myself to, it was actually, oh, sorry about that. This one here I made up myself, but it was actually copying a picture of a sweater that was in a museum. It had that something like that in it, and I just tried to replicate it. And the rest I got from, I think it was Alice Starmore's Aran Knitting book. Is it called Aran Knitting? What is it called? I have it up there. It is Aran Knitting, isn't it? Yeah, Aran Knitting by Alan Starmore has some stitches, and I know I got this one from this one right here. This one from her book. I'm not sure if I got this one from it, but they're basic cable patterns. And like I said, I measured him, and then I knit it in the round, and this was a lot of knitting, guys. And it was way too tight. I had him try it on, and by the way, I couldn't do it top down because of this pattern right here. I couldn't knit that upside down. He wanted it going, he was adamant that he wanted it going up that way. So this was like an epic fail, and it's not for lack of trying or doing the right things. I did my swatches, I did my measuring, I did my schematic, I measured him according to all what I learned in the craftsy classes, and it's just going to end up being a sweater for me. But I still owe him a sweater, and luckily I still have enough of this. I bought enough of this to make 2 sweaters, one for him and one for me. This is expensive wool. Let me show you too. This is Alice Starmore's Bainin. I ordered this from her. I forget how much it cost, but between the shipping and the exchange rate, this is Virtual Yarns by Alice Starmore, and it's not, you know, cheap yarn. So I have enough to make one for him still. And I'm going to start from scratch, but this time I'm going to knit it in pieces. I am in a craftsy class with Clara, somebody, and it's about designing cabled sweaters, and I'm going to use that class to make this sweater for Mark, and I'll just make it bigger in the front to accommodate his little belly, big belly. Sorry, but he does. Anyway, that's one of my goals, and that's like my first and utmost priority. He's waited way too long. He really deserves this, and he's really waited long enough. So that's my first goal. My second goal is the Rhinebeck sweater. I need a sweater to wear to Rhinebeck, and I decided it's going to be Pumpkin Ale by Isolde Teague from her Rhinebeck sweater book, and I've already ordered the yarn from Miss Babs. It's actually on the way. I had ordered it before Rhinebeck, but returned it. And they said they were going to dye extra yarn just for me. I returned it, and I should be getting it soon. They said it would be done within 2 or 3 weeks, so no rush because I'm not ready to start it. But that's going to be my Rhinebeck sweater. So those are the first 2 goals. I want to make about 6 pairs of socks. So for Christmas, my sister is getting me, enrolling me in the Socks That Rock Club. Another reason why I really can't be buying any sock yarn right now. Anyway, the 6 pairs are most likely going to be the Socks That Rock socks. But there might be more. Like I said, you got to leave yourself a little wiggle room, right? So 6 pairs of socks. The pie shawl that I told you I'm doing for the knit along. So that's like a gift for my aunt because it's long overdue. And another one I want to make is the Viajante. It's like a triangular poncho / shawl by Martina Bem. That's been in my queue a while, and I'll start that soon. And I think that's going to be, may or may not finish it next year. But that may end up being something that I have for some mindless knitting whenever I need it. And I have the yarn for it, which I took out to show you. You saw my head like that. I bought this at Rhinebeck, And basically it's Spirit Trail Fiberworks Nona. And the colorway is just gorgeous. Nona is like one of my favorite yarns. It's in the colorway Bunting. It's these beautiful blues. It's just gorgeous. Tealy blues. It's a lot like this. You can tell I like the color, right? So that's something I want to get on the needles and at least almost finish. I don't want it to slip through the cracks, is what I'm saying. Because you know how sometimes you put something in your queue and you have every intention of making it and it just doesn't get done. So that's on my realistic, right? And the other thing I put under my goals is the Carson throw. So it was a shawl pattern by Rosemary Hill, and she developed it into a pattern, and she actually formalized the instructions for a throw using the same design as she used for a half circle shawl. She made a pattern for a throw and gave it to everyone that bought the pattern. And she used eco yarn, and I have a whole bunch of eco yarn that I bought when Craftsy had their sale. So basically, I have Eco Plus for a little color pop, this blue. And then I bought all these neutrals. I've gained some of them up. I just want to start this. This is going to be my couch knitting. I have some creams and some oatmeal. And like I said, blue will be the pop of color. But that's something I want. I mean, I want to snuggle up on the couch with this. So if I can get this done next year, that would be great. But I at least want to get it started. And then lastly, I want to, here's some goals that don't require, that aren't really project specific. I want to start spinning more consistently. And so that just means practicing my spinning. So I will be doing more spinning next year. And I put on my list for next year no new sock yarn in my stash, other than the socks that rock. We'll see how that goes. But it will be much less than I did this year. I went crazy. All right. Stretch goals. Nakraga by Alice Starmore is, I have the yarn for it already. I bought it like years ago. Like 3 or 4, when I bought the Bane and yarn, I bought this for Nakraga. It's from her Erin knitting book, and I love the pattern, and I'm going to make it for myself. So that is a stretch goal. I don't know if I'll have enough time to make the sweater for Mark, the sweater for me, and the third sweater. Mostly because they're cabled. And cable sweaters for me take a lot longer than a regular sweater. I also want to finish that sweater that didn't work out for Mark. I'd like to finish that for me as well. And then I was thinking, as a final goal, maybe de-stash a little. Get rid of some yarns that I know I probably won't use. But we'll see. And that, my friends, my knitty friends, is it for tonight. This is a long one. It's almost an hour, so I'm not going to keep you any further. I wish you all happy knitting. I will see you next week. So take care, and ciao ciao for now.